I've actually never met anyone who has such a passion for being alive. She knows the importance of expressing feelings as well.
What really happened when Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were caught in that now viral moment? The footage is sparking debates, dissected frame by fans and experts alike. From subtle glances to tense gestures, the world is analyzing every second. Stay with us as we uncover what the clip reveals about fame, conflict, and private life in the spotlight.
Out of hiding, back in public. Nicole Kidman was just spotted for the first time after the news that made headlines from the US to her native Australia.
It began as a fleeting encounter, the kind of moment usually drowned in the noise of public life. But when a bystander lifted a phone and pressed record, the scene shifted into something impossible to ignore. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, long considered untouchable in their devotion, were suddenly framed in an unscripted conflict that no press statement could undo. What struck viewers first was the ordinariness of the setting. This was no red carpet affair or media junket, but a casual outing where both seemed unguarded. The absence of glittering lights or staged smiles gave the video an authenticity that audiences crave. Fans recognized instantly that they were not seeing performance, but exposure. That rawness was the spark that turned a private disagreement into a viral spectacle. The clip itself lasted less than a minute, yet it carried the weight of something far larger. Each passing second was replayed endlessly across platforms. Some slowed it down to isolate expressions, others zoomed in to emphasize clenched jaws or diverted glances. In this obsessive scrutiny, the brief encounter transformed from a mere quarrel into a cultural flashpoint. What made it different from countless other celebrity spats was not the content of the exchange but the immediacy of its capture. The atmosphere of the moment also played its role. Urban's body shifted with subtle defensiveness, while Kidman's stillness suggested an intensity impossible to dismiss. These contrasts created the illusion of a story unfolding in silence. Without audible words, the power of imagery alone became the narrative. The absence of sound gave birth to infinite interpretations, each one more sensational than the last. Virality, however, thrives on timing. The release of the footage coincided with an already heightened public appetite for stories surrounding both stars. Kidman was in the middle of promotional tours, Urban preparing for upcoming performances. That collision of visibility and controversy ensured the video's circulation would be exponential. Within hours, it had leapt from fan accounts to mainstream outlets, where it took on a life of its own. By the time entertainment reporters caught hold, the damage was irreparable. Headlines labeled the exchange as explosive, while audiences debated fiercely in comment sections. The discussion was no longer about what had happened, but what it signified. Had the couple finally reached breaking point? Was this the unraveling of a story once written as unshakable? For millions, the spectacle was not just about two people in conflict, but about the rupture of an ideal. As the footage spread across continents, it was clear this was no ordinary viral moment. It had grown beyond gossip, becoming a lens through which fame, intimacy, and public appetite collided in full force. The clip was no longer just video evidence, it was a cultural mirror. But if the recording was the spark, what about the image that burned before it? Could the decades-long reputation of resilience stand against this storm? Stay with us as the mystery deepens. From the earliest days of their union, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were cast in the public eye as a rare Hollywood anomaly. Unlike the volatile romances that flare and fade, theirs seemed grounded in a steady resilience. They did not shy away from speaking about personal struggles, but always framed them as battles fought together. This made them aspirational, a story of redemption and devotion told in interviews and magazine covers. Kidman often described her marriage as both a sanctuary and a challenge. She spoke of the balance between her demanding career and her role as a partner, offering glimpses into a life where vulnerability and strength coexisted. These moments created a narrative that resonated deeply with audiences who saw her as both glamorous and relatable. Urban reinforced this picture with his own openness, particularly when acknowledging his struggles with addiction and the support he found in Kidman. Their candidness gave their bond an aura of authenticity. That image was polished across years of appearances. On red carpets, they held hands, whispering privately between flashing cameras. At award shows, they offered affectionate glances that became sound bites for love's endurance. Together, they stood as living proof that fame and stability were not mutually exclusive. The press celebrated them as a couple who had weathered storms yet remained unwavering in their devotion. In many ways, their brand extended beyond love. They became a symbol of hope for those who believed commitment could endure under pressure. Media outlets frequently highlighted their story as inspirational. Kidman had rebuilt her personal life after heartbreak, and Urban had risen from the shadows of addiction. Together, they projected triumph over hardship, turning private challenges into a narrative of collective resilience. The sudden circulation of the viral footage directly challenged that carefully woven tale. For years, they had represented the possibility of harmony within chaos, but the video pierced through that perception. The contrast was jarring. Instead of hand-in-hand unity, audiences saw fractured body language and unsmiling faces. Instead of resilience, there appeared distance. What had been mythologized as an unbreakable bond now seemed fragile. The reaction to this rupture revealed how tightly their image had been embedded in public consciousness. Fans felt not only shock, but also betrayal. Comment sections filled with questions about whether the love story they had admired was ever real. The illusion of perfection shattered in seconds, raising doubts that rippled through every platform. This was no longer simply a couple under scrutiny. It was the dismantling of a narrative that the public itself had invested in. The irony, of course, lay in the fact that their openness had made them more vulnerable to this kind of collapse. By inviting the world into their story, they had given audiences a stake in their relationship's success. When the footage contradicted that promise, it felt less like gossip and more like a broken contract with the public. If the carefully crafted image was starting to crumble, what hidden histories were surfacing to reveal the reasons behind the cracks? Come with us to explore the hidden corners of the story.
We got married in June 2006, and barely 4 months into our marriage, my addictions that I'd done really nothing about blew our marriage.
Clip from 00 to 014. A single headline can resurrect years of private struggle, and for Nicole Kidman, the viral confrontation did exactly that. Within hours, digital narratives dug into her past divorce from Tom Cruise, a union that had once been dissected in tabloids worldwide. The media's gaze quickly shifted from the viral fight itself to her history of high-profile relationships, framing them as potential catalysts for perceived tension or emotional intensity in the incident. What had once been discrete personal milestones became public reference points, feeding a narrative that the world was suddenly eager to decode. Fertility struggles, often deeply personal, were drawn into the conversation with startling velocity. Interviews from decades earlier were resurrected, highlighting Kidman's openness about trying to conceive while balancing an unrelenting Hollywood schedule. Commentators speculated about whether such pressures contributed to the tensions captured in the viral clip. Each article, each social post, layered her private pain onto a moment that had never been intended as symbolic, but audiences were determined to see patterns of cause and effect. Keith Urban's history with addiction also re-emerged as a point of discussion, showing how public figures rarely escape the shadow of past challenges. Tabloid retrospectives revisited his earlier struggles, highlighting rehabilitation journeys that were once inspiring but now portrayed as potential vulnerability factors. Social media users pieced together timelines and public appearances, attempting to link old struggles to new behaviors, as if past battles could predict current actions. The viral fight itself became a prism through which prior hardships were magnified. Experts in celebrity culture noted a curious pattern. Audiences are drawn to the intersection of fame, vulnerability, and conflict. Kidman and Urban's careers, heavily curated and intensely scrutinized, offered a perfect canvas. Each throwback article or archived interview provided fodder for speculation, and suddenly decades-old life events were trending alongside fresh footage, as if history were conspiring to explain the present. Psychologists and media analysts alike weighed in, exploring the implications of revisiting such sensitive topics in real time. Some argued that public fascination with personal trauma reflects a larger cultural obsession with narrative coherence, where audiences attempt to rationalize celebrity behavior by examining prior life events. Kidman and Urban, while careful to maintain dignity in public appearances, were inevitably caught in the gravitational pull of past headlines, unable to escape the reflexive scrutiny of a society eager to interpret every gesture. Yet, beyond speculation, there was a subtler human story unfolding. Behind the relentless reposting of past hardships, there remained the persistent effort to maintain authenticity and privacy. Both Kidman and Urban had cultivated reputations not just as performers, but as individuals committed to certain boundaries. The resurfacing of past struggles challenged those boundaries, demanding strategic communication and careful navigation of media narratives. Every statement, every public smile, now carried the weight of layered interpretation. The public, enthralled by these revelations, became part of a dynamic interplay between past and present. Each resurfaced story did not exist in isolation, but built a cumulative portrait of resilience, tension, and exposure. As audiences shared, commented, and debated, they were not just observers but participants in the unfolding drama, turning personal history into collective spectacle. What had begun as private trials were now reframed as context, enhancing the viral moment's perceived significance. The shadows of the past had never been so visible, yet the way they intertwined with present events highlighted a curious truth. History is never truly behind us when fame is involved. Audiences, eager for understanding and scandal alike, continued to mine every detail, linking old heartbreaks and struggles to new flashes of conflict. Each reference to prior life chapters added complexity, transforming a fleeting viral moment into a layered story of enduring public fascination. Could the past hold the key to understanding the storm that followed, or was it merely a mirror reflecting society's obsession with fame? Come with us to know. Almost immediately after the footage surfaced, a new phenomenon emerged: the digital microscope of public scrutiny. Slow-motion replays became an obsession, with viewers pausing and replaying frames to detect the slightest shift in expression or gesture. Each blink, nod, or hand movement was magnified, dissected, and assigned meaning. What might have been a fleeting glance between Kidman and Urban was transformed into evidence of tension, mistrust, or unspoken emotion. Lip-reading enthusiasts entered the fray, convinced that whispered exchanges held clues to the altercation's origins. Social media threads exploded with speculative transcripts, some wildly imaginative, others grounded in careful observation. A casual comment from one of the star's aides, once unnoticed, was suddenly framed as a secret signal. Digital detectives pored over angles, lighting, and timing, analyzing micro-expressions that human eyes often miss in real life. Every frame was a puzzle piece, and audiences were determined to complete the picture. Body language experts, both professional and amateur, weighed in with commentary that straddled entertainment and pseudo-investigation. They broke down posture, stance, and gesture, noting when a shoulder tensed or a hand twitched. Each movement was theorized as a reflection of internal states: annoyance, stress, or protective instinct. Comparisons to past appearances created a reference map, allowing analysts to argue whether behavior aligned with previous public conduct. The act of observing became almost scientific, though interpretation often blurred with assumption. Meanwhile, digital culture contributed its own lens. Meme creators seized on split-second facial expressions, exaggerating them for comedic or satirical effect. GIFs capturing minuscule reactions circulated widely, sometimes divorced entirely from context. The viral clip transformed into a repository of cultural artifacts, each frame repurposed to convey humor, irony, or critique. Audiences could now interact with the incident frame by frame, blurring the lines between observation, entertainment, and analysis. Journalists and commentators began publishing frame-by-frame breakdowns, complete with annotated screenshots and time-stamped sequences. Some articles took a forensic tone, presenting speculative proof of sentiment or intention. Others focused on narrative storytelling, threading individual gestures into cohesive stories about relationships, pressure, or public image. The viral clip became a living document, with each frame an opportunity for reinterpretation layered upon reinterpretation. This meticulous scrutiny highlighted the evolution of celebrity culture in the digital era. Every gesture, once private, became permanent in recorded form, accessible for infinite replay. Stars no longer controlled the narrative of their movement or expression, existing in constant potential analysis. The boundary between personal nuance and public spectacle had vanished. Yet ambiguity remained. Not every pause or glance could be conclusively interpreted. The more detailed the breakdown, the more room for competing theories. Fans, critics, and casual viewers debated endlessly, revealing as much about audience psychology as the stars themselves. In this space, perception often trumped reality, and the viral moment became a collective mirror reflecting public curiosity and judgment. Ultimately, the digital microscope transformed a short sequence into a complex cultural phenomenon. Every frame became a canvas for interpretation and debate. The incident no longer existed solely in real time. It thrived in infinite loops of replay, analysis, and commentary. What was once fleeting had become permanent, and what was once private had been passed into millions of digital fragments. Might a single, overlooked gesture hold the key to the truth behind the viral confrontation, or would scrutinizing it only deepen the mystery? Let us guide you into what no one expected.
I thought she was way out of my league. Not in a million years did I think somebody like that would be interested in me.
Careers in Hollywood are rarely insulated from personal moments, and for Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, the viral incident immediately intersected with professional timelines. Kidman was in the midst of promoting high-profile projects, each appearance and interview strategically scheduled to reinforce her image as both a versatile actress and a refined public figure. The viral clip introduced an unpredictable variable, forcing her team to balance media attention without allowing it to overshadow ongoing work. Every red carpet walk, press interaction or public statement became a negotiation between authenticity and brand preservation. For Urban, timing was equally sensitive. Heading into a major tour, he faced the challenge of maintaining focus amidst a whirlwind of online speculation. Concert announcements, ticket promotions, and interviews suddenly carried an undercurrent of scrutiny as audiences and journalists alike linked his professional demeanor to the viral moment. The delicate choreography of public perception meant that even a minor misstep could ripple across ticket sales, sponsorship deals, and critical reception, highlighting the fragility inherent in celebrity branding. Branding experts noted that celebrity partnerships function as both personal and commercial alliances. Kidman and Urban's union, while celebrated for its glamour, was also a shared platform influencing public perception, endorsements, and collaborative visibility. A single viral incident, therefore, had dual implications. It risked not only reputational damage, but also economic impact. Every media outlet that referenced the altercation introduced subtle narratives that could reshape public opinion and influence audience behavior, underscoring the intersection of private life and public investment. The entertainment industry's reaction was multifaceted. PR consultants and agents swiftly issued guidance on interviews, urging restraint and strategic messaging. Social media teams monitored trends, identifying potential risks to ongoing campaigns and fan engagement. In some cases, ambiguous silence was leveraged as a tool. The absence of official comment generated intrigue, feeding speculation while avoiding explicit statements that could escalate attention. Managing such dualities required an intricate understanding of timing, tone, and the delicate art of media control. Within professional circles, colleagues and collaborators were also affected. Directors, producers, and fellow performers observed the unfolding attention, assessing how associations with either star might influence perception. In a field where reputation can dictate opportunity, the viral clip created an environment of heightened awareness, encouraging caution in partnerships and public appearances. Even neutral interactions became subject to reinterpretation, as the incident cast a long shadow over professional credibility. Beyond immediate career management, the viral event illuminated the broader challenge of sustaining a brand in a hyper-digital era. Public identities are increasingly inseparable from media representation, leaving little room for private nuance. For high-profile figures like Kidman and Urban, this meant that every personal reaction or professional decision could be amplified, contextualized, and critiqued, transforming normal career activity into a potential headline. Reputation became a strategic asset, fragile yet invaluable. Interestingly, the incident also revealed the resilience of celebrity brands. Despite the scrutiny, both Kidman and Urban continued to attract attention and maintain professional momentum. The careful curation of appearances, strategic statements, and deliberate engagement with media ensured that their respective projects retained visibility and credibility. Audiences, while fascinated by personal moments, still responded to professional performance, demonstrating that reputation is not solely built on perfection, but on careful management of perception and response. When the viral confrontation erupted, it revealed a fundamental truth about fame. Personal and professional lives are inseparable, and every public action carries weight. Careers can rise or fall depending on how incidents are handled, the timing of responses, and audience perception. The delicate balance between vulnerability and professional control defines the modern celebrity landscape, creating a constant tension between exposure and discretion. Is it possible that this viral moment, examined and magnified, could truly shift the direction of their careers, or was it merely a brief distraction? Stay with us to uncover what comes next. The moment the viral footage entered the public sphere, it transcended mere documentation of an event and became a living artifact of digital culture. Social media users quickly transformed it into a shared canvas, remixing, editing, and captioning the clip in ways the original participants could never have imagined. Each new iteration, be it a meme, looped GIF, or satirical edit, served as a commentary on behavior, emotion, or status, often blending humor with critique. The short clip evolved into an endlessly adaptable cultural object. Fan communities contributed to this phenomenon by creating intricate timelines that traced the event's spread across platforms. Every retweet, repost, and story segment was logged, analyzed, and shared, producing a granular map of audience engagement. Threads compared reactions from different time zones, dissected virality patterns, and cataloged the most popular edits. This methodical attention transformed casual spectators into archivists, documenting digital trends in real time and shaping collective memory around a single fleeting moment. humor became a key vector for the footage's circulation. Memes exaggerated facial expressions or gestures, turning subtle glances into hyperbolic reactions. Some edits were surreal, adding unlikely sound effects or fictional backstories to heighten comedic impact. The playful treatment of the incident did not diminish its significance, but instead amplified it, illustrating how humor can operate as both commentary and coping mechanism in online spaces. Even audiences unfamiliar with the original context could participate, engaging with fragments detached from the actual event. Satirical content extended beyond individual users to established media outlets. Entertainment shows, digital magazines, and viral news platforms picked up the clip, framing it in humorous or ironic segments. Commentary combined pop culture analysis with social critique, often reflecting broader anxieties about fame, authenticity, and public scrutiny. By placing the footage into curated formats, these outlets both expanded its reach and encouraged interpretive frameworks, ensuring that the incident persisted in public conversation far beyond the original moment. This viral proliferation highlighted the mechanics of attention economy in digital culture. Every share, like, and comment increased visibility, creating feedback loops that reinforced prominence. Ordinary social media users became agents of distribution, determining which aspects of the footage gained traction. The original stars had little influence over the pace or direction of circulation, demonstrating the democratization of content control in the internet age. Moments intended as personal or private were quickly recast as global phenomena, reshaped by collective participation. Analysis of the viral clip also revealed how online communities construct narrative. Fans produced mock interviews, edited commentary, and speculative storylines, layering additional meaning onto minimal actions. Each reinterpretation reflected individual creativity, cultural assumptions, and humor sensibilities, showing how a short video can become a canvas for endless narrative experimentation. The same clip could signify conflict, playfulness, tension, or absurdity depending on the lens applied, underscoring the subjectivity inherent in digital storytelling. Importantly, the cultural phenomenon extended beyond humor or analysis. The incident prompted reflections on social norms, celebrity vulnerability, and media ethics. Discussion threads debated respect for privacy, boundaries of public interest, and the moral responsibility of online audiences. While many engaged purely for entertainment, others used the opportunity to examine broader questions about fame and exposure in a hyper-connected world. The viral moment thus became both an object of fascination and a catalyst for conversation. What if a single clip, endlessly remixed and reshared, contained hidden lessons about fame, humor, and human curiosity that even the stars never expected? Follow us as the untold details come to light. After the viral clip swept across social media, silence became one of the most potent tools in Kidman and Urban's arsenal. Public statements were carefully measured, each absence of comment generating intrigue while signaling strategic restraint. Silence was not weakness, it was a deliberate act of control, allowing speculation to peak without giving away narrative authority. The media, desperate to fill the void, produced analysis, imagined motives, and reconstructed conversations, turning the lack of response into content in itself. Spin quickly emerged as a parallel strategy. Publicists and advisors subtly reframed appearances and interviews, emphasizing positivity, collaboration, or focus on professional milestones. Every smile, glance, or interaction was now interpreted through the lens of reputation management. Analysts noted that such recalibration requires anticipating audience perception and preemptively guiding interpretation, essentially turning routine behavior into defensive storytelling. Peers and colleagues became part of the narrative web. Comments from fellow actors, musicians, and industry insiders were amplified, sometimes offering support, other times inadvertently complicating the public picture. Each interaction was scrutinized, showing how celebrity networks can influence perception indirectly. A casual remark at a charity event could shift discussion, reminding everyone that control over narrative extends beyond official channels. The tension between public curiosity and personal privacy created a delicate equilibrium. Kidman and Urban navigated an environment where every gesture and word carried amplified weight, demonstrating that in modern celebrity culture, reputation is perpetually under construction. This battle for control was not about denial, but about shaping perception, preserving dignity, and strategically guiding attention. Which part of the viral footage shocked you the most? Was it the tension, the subtle gestures, or the public's reaction? Share your thoughts in the comments below.